Welcome back to Washington Watch. My name is Joseph Backholm, sitting in for Tony today. The website is tonyperkins.com, where you can find this and every episode of Washington Watch. Also, between now and December 31st, you can have your contribution made through tonyperkins.com doubled for December 31st. Thank you for your support. On Friday, a three-judge panel of the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals decided 2-1 to reinstate the Biden administration's shots or test requirement for businesses with 100 or more employees. The mandate, which is one of three that were put on ice over the past few weeks, now heads to the United States Supreme Court, where the justices are being asked to grant an immediate appeal. Joining me now is Ryan Bangert, Senior Counsel and Vice President for Legal Strategy at Alliance Defending Freedom, which is challenging the Biden administration's mandate on behalf of several religious employers, including the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary. Ryan, welcome back to the program.
Joe, great to be here. Thanks for having us on.
It's good to see you. Now, first, tell us who you're representing and what your objections are to OSHA's emergency temporary standards.
Certainly. So we represent, as you noted, the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, as well as other religious institutions all across the country, some Christian schools down in Florida, employers groups. We also represent the Daily Wire in a separate lawsuit. So it's really a combination of for-profit, nonprofit, and religious institutions, all of which are united in saying that the employee mandate is unconstitutional and an overreach of the federal government's authority to control American citizens in their healthcare decisions.
Now, previously, the Fifth Circuit had issued a stay on the employer mandates. Now, just last week, the Sixth Circuit said that the mandates can go into effect. Why the difference of opinion?
Well, not to put it too crassly, but different judges, different panels, and they saw things differently. I think the Fifth Circuit was absolutely correct. And I think it's worth noting that the Sixth Circuit, which is a federal appeals court based in Cincinnati, a number of judges on the Sixth Circuit, led by Chief Judge Sutton, who is one of the most respected jurists in the country, wrote a vigorous opinion explaining exactly why this mandate is both unconstitutional and an overreach of federal authority. So even amongst the judges on the Sixth Circuit, you have a wide variation of opinion. Many of whom, and some of the most respected judges there, believe that this mandate is unconstitutional.
Now, this particular mandate applies to employers with 100 or more employees. How many employers is that across the country?
Well, the federal government estimates upwards of 80 million employees all across the country could be affected by this mandate, which is an astonishing number. And I think that alone tells you why the federal courts have been so reticent to bless this as a valid exercise of federal authority. Anytime you have an agency like OSHA that is implementing federal policy of this sweep and magnitude, you have to ask the question, is this really what Congress intended? And the courts, with the exception of two judges on the Sixth Circuit panel, have uniformly said, no, this is a vast overreach of federal authority.
With these mandates in place, what is the penalty for employers who are found not to be in compliance?
The penalty can be fairly severe, up to nearly $14,000 per violation. And for willful violation, the number can go much higher than that. So there are real financial consequences associated with not following this mandate.
Now, an emergency stay has been filed with the Supreme Court, asking them to essentially agree with the Fifth Circuit and stop the federal government from enforcing these against private employers. What do you expect from the Supreme Court?
Well, the good news is we already have our first indication. Justice Brett Kavanaugh has ordered that the federal government respond to the petitions for review no later than December 30th. So the Supreme Court has already asked for a very fast response, and we're hopeful that the Supreme Court will address this right after the turn of the new year, because OSHA has already signaled to the regulated community that it's going to begin enforcement, full enforcement of this mandate by the second week of February. So the clock is running.
You are not the first ones to ask the Supreme Court to issue a stay with respect to the White House's mandates on this issue. And so far, they have declined to do so. Why do you think this case might be different?
Well, I think there are several reasons why this case might be different. First of which is the fact that OSHA has so clearly overshot its statutory authority. OSHA, don't forget, this is an emergency temporary standard, an ETS. So this is the absolute maximum authority that OSHA can exercise over American employers and employees. It is a rule that was implemented without any notice or comment, being no opportunity for notice or comment getting given to the public. OSHA is only allowed to use this authority in situations that are grave threats and grave dangers to public health. And we believe, and I believe the Fifth Circuit has found correctly, that OSHA came nowhere close to satisfying that high standard. So for those and a number of other reasons, I think this particular mandate is very, very vulnerable to being overturned by the Supreme Court.
Ryan, we've got about 30 seconds, but even if there's a stay, this issue will be litigated. Why are you optimistic that ultimately the employers will prevail in this case?
Well, I'm optimistic for the reasons we just discussed. I think the law is clear. I think OSHA very clearly overshot its authority here. I think that the statutory analysis that was conducted by the Fifth Circuit was spot on, as well as the analysis conducted by Chief Judge Sutton. Those judges are very respected, and I believe the Supreme Court's going to see it the same way.
Ryan Bangert, Alliance Defending Freedom, thanks so much for your vigilance on behalf of freedom and your time today.